get things rolling along here in just a minute as some of the cars have already made their way out onto the racetrack for heat race number 1. So 5 cars set to go for heat race number 1 in the Shinkles Gourmet Meats Modified Division. As always, want to give a big shout out to John and the whole gang from Shinkles Gourmet Meats sponsoring our Modified Division this season here at the racetrack. We will give them one more time around before we cut them loose for our first heat race of the evening. As I mentioned, if throughout the night, if you need safety glasses or earplugs, head on down to the souvenir booth. We do have those available for you. Driver's going to get bunched up here. Chapman and Toniolo on the front row here for heat race number 1. Well, lap number 1 in the books here. Mario Toniolo leads him around, followed by McLeod and Fletcher. As was kind of expected here tonight, track conditions going to dry off. Mother Nature has not given us any moisture. I know just a couple nights ago, yesterday even, Chatham had a whole bunch of rain. Unfortunately, none of it here at the racetrack yesterday, so definitely expecting things to dry out throughout the night as we get racing through here. Mario Toniolo now rolls up on the halfway point here in heat race number 1. Guy behind him, Brad McLeod in the 43, doing well considering he's much more of a heavy track driver. Definitely likes a bit more moisture, but see how he gets things wrangled in for his setup for tonight's feature. Two laps left to go here in our first modified heat. Mario Toniolo leading him around. Mario currently 5th in points in our modified class. One more time around the Speedway for the 14 car. As things spread out just a little bit more, McLeod about a half track back from race leader Mario Toniolo, who comes down across the straight picking up the heat race win. McLeod's second. Jim Fletcher comes home in 3rd, followed by Bob Chapman in the 5 and Kyle Villaranda in the 11 car will come home 5th. So before races got started here tonight, some of you may have noticed a bunch of cars making laps with some of our junior fan members. We want to give a big shout out to Shauna and Danielle and the whole gang helping out to make our junior fan party happen earlier on tonight. It was definitely a big success, and I know all of the junior fan members have a great time. And lots of work going into the junior fan party, so glad they could be a part of it this evening. Big thanks to everybody for helping out so far this season with our junior fan club as we get ready to go here for heat race number 2. Brian Spielman in the 22 car, Tate O'Leary in the 28, Drew Smith in the 86, Justin Mills in the 6M, and Jim Dale Jr. in the 00, ready to fire it up. Justin Mills in the 6M jumps out front. Justin been a pretty strong contender so far this season in the 6M car. Jimmy Dale Jr. happy to be back out second week now after some motor issues sidelined that car earlier on this season. Finally got it put back together last week. Drew Smith in the 86 runs in third. Drew, your current points leader here in our modified division. Smith looks to the inside of Jim Dale that time by, but not going to make it work as we roll through heat race number 1, coming up on halfway for Mills in the 6M. Smith again to the inside of Jim Dale Jr. Jim pulls just a bit in that 00 as they head down into 3 and 4. Smith to the inside once again, takes that spot away from Dale. Smith now in second down through the dust in 1 and 2. Spielman runs in fourth. Coming up on 2 laps this time by. Spielman slides up across the front of Jim Dale Jr. He takes away that third spot. White flag out this time for Justin Mills in the 6M. Down through 3 and 4, and this time by it will be Justin Mills in the 6M picking up the heat race win, followed by Drew Smith in the 86. Brian Spielman in the 22S comes home in third, I should say. Jim Dale Jr. in the 00 in 5th. And Tate O'Leary coming home in 5th. Well, that will do it for our modified heat races here. 2 down in the books. Those guys will go back and tune in for their feature event here tonight. Definitely going to have some work to do, as these track conditions will probably dry out just a little bit more. Sometimes the moisture starts to come back up just a little bit as the sun goes down, so drivers will be looking at that throughout the night. As we roll on through with our second class of the evening, bringing out the Thunderstock division. Thunderstock's out on the racetrack. One big shout out to Westside Performance Plus, the Thunderstock sponsor here this season at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. 10 cars set to go, ready here in our first Thunderstock heat race. Sean Jones, Laura Auth here on the front row. They'll bring them down here to take the green flag. Definitely glad to see the 43 car back out, as we've got one around and some carnage already down there in turn number 2. Pretty hard lick there on the 45 car as we see some sheet metal hanging down there. Barry Watson in the 45. Laura Auth dragging the roof off of that car. So things tore up pretty quick down there in turn number 2. Getting a shot on the camera here, and the whole top missing on that 45 car. Both drivers giving the thumbs up to our safety crew, so that's a good sign. Both drivers okay, everyone involved A-okay. We'll just take a minute here. We've got the 65 car involved as well. Scott Dunn, he is down there beside the 45. I see a left front flat on the 65, so they will have to get these cars cleaned up, put away. And the whole roof somehow attached to the side of the 30 car of Laura Othier. Not quite sure how you take that much sheet metal off of a race car doing a lap there, but strange things happen. So as quick as it started for Barry Watson there in the 45, he will make his way back. Good chance we could see that 45 car back out for the feature. If it is just cosmetic, he might be able to make that back out for the feature. All the tires still up on that race car as he makes his way into the pit, so that's a good sign. So once again, this is the first of 2 Thunderstock heat races ready to go here. Last week, as I mentioned, it was the 40-lap feature, 500 to win. For our Thunderstocks, it was Dan Bailey in the 49 car, taking home the big payday last week. Once we got through the first couple of cautions, things seemed to get pretty racy for these guys. Hopefully as the night progresses, we'll get a little breeze here for you race fans. Try and keep your vision just a little bit better, but the joys of a dirt track sometimes. You're going to get a little dust in the burger, that is for sure. As green flag is in hand, ready one more time to start heat race number 1. Gerald Martin, Sean Jones on the front row. They will be ready to go this time by out of turn number 4. Everybody good through 1 and 2 this time. A little bobble there from Othier at the tail of the field, but she keeps it pointed in the right direction. We'll keep rolling along here. Jones and Martin doing battle out front, side by side as they come across the stripe. Martin in the 43 now looks to the high side, takes the lead away from Jones in the 327. Jones down to the bottom, looking to get that spot back. Side by side, door to door that time by. Again, Jones to the bottom, Martin on the high side with a good run out of 2 in the 43 car. A little bit of contact between the 327 and the 43, but they keep it going in the right direction. Jones to the point, Martin at the point. Jones trying to track him down. Todd Shaw running in third. The youngster Kelvin Fox sits in 4th. Good battle between Andrew Mayu and Alan Rio back there for that 4th and 5th position as they come across the line. So everybody getting things figured out here on these dry, slick conditions so far. Another thing to contend with is definitely going to be the sunshine as it starts to go down. These drivers, as they come out of 3 and 4, that sun's going to be right in their eyes. Not a major, but something to consider as they try to make some moves down on 3 and 4. But down the backstretch, our leader goes. Martin with Jones hot on his heels. Jones all the way down to the bottom once again in the 327. One more time around for these two as they battle at the front. Again, Martin with a good run coming out of 2. Jones on the bumper. Jones, I'm sure, dives to the bottom once again, looking to make it stick. Down on the inside with a good run. Martin on the high side as they come out of 3 and 4. It will be Gerald Martin picking up the victory by a car length over Sean Jones in the 327. Good run from both of those guys. Todd Shaw in 3rd. Calvin Fox in 4th. Alan Reome in 5th. And Andrew Mayu in the 98, rounding out the 6th position.
guys are there? How many guys are there?
That's going to do it for heat race number 1 as heat race number 2 makes its way out onto the speedway. Quickly run down this lineup here for heat race number 2, starting at the tail is the 92 of Paige Lanoux, 27 of John Hodges, 75 is Ryan Berry, the G72 of Marcel Godet, 74 is Stan Cook, the 1A of Brad Othier, 96 is Steve Shaw, the 42 of Matt Wilson, 47B is Mitchell Brusso, 5G of Gord Grant, and starting on the pole is the 21 of Spencer Smolders, and they are underway in heat race number 2. Last week was the first laps around the speedway for the 21 car of Smolders. He had a pretty decent run. Jumps out to the early lead here in heat race number 2. Followed by Wilson and Grant door to door across the stripe. Battle for fourth between Shaw and Brusso. Shaw will take that spot away as he looks to the inside of Wilson down into 1 and 2. Down on the bottom takes away that third position. He'll look to track down the 5 of Gord Grant now in the second position. Smolders in the 21 still leading these guys around. A few car lengths over Grant. Shaw out of the inside. Down the back stretch they go. Halfway this time by. Smolders this time by will start to work on some slower cars. He'll get to the inside of the 74 of Stan Cook. He'll take that spot away as they come across the stripe. Battle shaping up for second between Shaw and Grant as we get down to the closing laps here of heat number 1. John Hodges in the 27 goes a lap down to Smolders in the 21 car. Two laps left to go here in heat race number 2. Smolders stretches things out quite a bit over second place Grant. One more time around for the race leader as Shaw looks to try and move into that second position as they come across 3 and 4 wide. Hodges in the 27 with nowhere to go. Comes across the front of the 47 car. They came 3 wide across the stripe. Got some contact with that slower car. Hodges with a left rear tire there on the 27. They'll get him pushed off to the infield, and that will bunch things up as we are down just inside the closing laps here of heat race number 2. Once again, Smolders, the first time at the racetrack was last week for the 40-lap feature. Had a pretty decent run in the 21. He's made the trip back tonight. So Hodges making his way to the pits in the 27. Smolders, Grant, and Steve Shaw. 1, 2, 3. Last week, Steve Shaw gave it everything on the final turn down through 3 and 4, but just didn't have enough for race leader Bailey. Came home second in that 40-lap feature event. So single file this time for the restart. Green and white together. This second heat race. Just a couple laps from completion. Smolders in the 21, bringing them down through 3 and 4 to green. This time by. Last lap around, Steve Shaw got a jump on the outside of Grant, but Grant makes it stick down the back stretch. They go door to door. Shaw takes away that second position for the moment. As Grant goes hard down into 3 and 4. Checks up. Shaw checks up just a little bit, opening the door for Grant to come home in second. Smolders in the 21 picks up the win. Gord Grant second, Steve Shaw in third. Again, things could definitely have been a lot worse on that last lap there, but a little respect between the 5 and the 96 there, not to get things too turned sideways. So that will do it for heat race number 2 in our Westside Performance Thunder Stocks. As we continue on here with our heat races, we have our late model division coming up next. Big shout out to Andre the New and Amfer Auto Sales down in Tilbury, our title sponsor for our late model division. 9 cars ready to go here for heat race number 1. Rolling off for heat race number 1 at the tail of the field, we have the 1A driven by Andrew Riom, Jordan Van Hall in the 6 car, Doris Lajeunesse in the 38D. I don't see him out here. I'm supposed to make the call for heat race number 1. Cody Vandewinkle in the 43. The 4 car is CJ Field. Mike Dale in the 00. Eugene Hoekstra in the 36. First time out on the track for that 36 car. Brent Colby in the 7, and the bad fast grandpa of Jim Jones in the 34 car, starting on pole for tonight's heat race number 1. We will give him one more time around before we cut him loose. Again, first time in trim race conditions for the 36 car of Eugene Hoekstra. We'll keep an eye on that black and pink hot rod as he makes some laps around here. Green flag in hand, getting ready for our late models to fire it up for heat race number 1. Well, Jim Jones in the 34 leads him down the backstretch, followed by Cody Vandewinkle in the 43. So far, so good for Eugene Hoekstra in the 36. Down through 1 and 2, field looks to the inside of Hoekstra as they head down the backstretch. With Andrew Riom in tow, they look to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to find a little bit of moisture down there. Field again looks to the inside on the bottom there. Hoekstra run down through the middle. Jim Jones still your leader in the 34, followed by Vandewinkle in the 43. Must be some issues for Colby in the 7. He was out here last night at practice trying to shake things out, but he's gone from the front to the tail, so hopefully the 7 car can get things sorted out for the feature tonight. But Jim Jones down inside, 2 laps to go here in heat race number 1. Van de Winkle, Hoekstra, Field, and Riom round out the top 5. Not much doing, 1 lap left to go. Field to the inside of Hoekstra, trying to make a move in the closing lap of heat race number 1. Again, the 4 car down to the bottom, trying to take away that 3rd position. Close call for Hoekstra as he got right up to the wall there. Managed to keep it on all 4s, but he got hard contact down across the stripe in the 36 car. So that will do it for heat race number 1 as Hoekstra comes to a stop right down against the wall. That definitely could have been a lot worse for the 36, but he kept it pointed in the right direction. Good heads-up play by Riom, who was close behind him, managed to avoid getting into the back of that 36 car as they come across the stripe. So, but it is the Bad Fast Grandpa of Jim Jones picking up the heat race win. Jim, one of the long time veterans here at the racetrack, whether it was Raleigh Raceway Park or Raceland Motor Speedway, Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, South Buxton. Jim Jones has literally raced at them all. So Jim in the 34 picking up the heat race win as we get the wrecker over there to get the hook, I believe, on the front of that car. As I mentioned, Hoekstra came across the stripe. Tail of that car got hard into the concrete wall, but kept it from going up and over. All right, heat race number 2 makes their way out onto the racetrack in our Andre Lanoux and Fair Auto Sales late model. We'll run down the lineup here for you. The 66 car is Tyler Lozon. 29 is Ryan Bonner. The 38H of Jake Hooker making an appearance tonight here at the racetrack. The 05 of Mike Lewis. 11B of Brad Bloomfield. The RH21 of Greg Haskell. Don Douglas in the 19D. JJ Bulio's first night out in that 26 car as well. And on the front row, we have the 00 of Jim Dale Jr. And on the pole, the 22S of Brian Spielman. So a couple cars making their first laps here tonight. JJ in the 26 did have a modified sitting in the garage, decided as he came across a good deal on a late model. He is now behind the wheel of that in the 26 car. So keep an eye on JJ as he rolls through his first night in the late model. Jake Hooker in the 38H. As was mentioned a couple weeks ago when we got a chance to talk to Rob Young in the 48 car. Rob hanging it up for just a little bit as the power plant from that car went underneath the hood of that 38 car. Hooker's had some issues at a practice night here, had some motor issues, but Young donating the power plant, so Hooker back out at the racetrack here behind the wheel of the 38H. We'll keep an eye on him in heat race number 2. Spielman and Dale ready to go on a 3 and 4. Well, already a battle shaping up out front between Spielman and Jones as they head down into, Spielman and Dale as they head through 3 and 4. Spielman will take that lap across the stripe. Spielman pulls out just a little bit ahead of Dale. Greg Haskell running in the 3rd position. Bloomfield with Mike Lewis battling for the 4th position. As Brad Bloomfield in the 11B gets up into the wall in turn number 2, so we're going to cut it short just a little bit. Bloomfield hard into the wall up there in 1 and 2. driver moving around in the car, that's always a good sign. Some pretty banged up sheet metal. Driver is okay, getting word on the radio. So Bloomfield okay behind the wheel. Unfortunately, the race car looks like he's going to try and get it moving just a little bit, but things tore up pretty good on the back of that machine. Again, Spielman currently running in that second position in points. And as I mentioned earlier on this season, had no intention of anything serious in the late model, but things have certainly changed as he's run pretty strong. Haskell in the RH21 finally getting things sorted out. They were plagued with some technical issues the first few nights out here, could not seem to get a feature in the books. But certainly have the bugs worked out in the last couple weeks. Bonner in the 29 car, he was another recipient of some parts and pieces from the trade with Rob Young. It's actually Rob Young's old car with the 29 body on it. So Rob sitting in the bleachers, but still has his car making its way around the track with the motor and the chassis still out on there as we get ready to go back to green. Spielman, Dale, and Haskell for heat race number 2. Haskell looks to the inside of Jim Dale Jr. as they head down the backstretch, down into 3 and 4. Bulio in the 26 pulls his way into the infield, cutting his heat race short. Down inside, 2 laps to go for race leader Spielman. Good battle for second between Haskell and Dale, and Mike Lewis looking to get his nose in the mix there as well. White flag this time for the 22. Dale still runs in second. Well, heat race number 2 draws to a close. It is Brian Spielman picking up the win, followed by Jim Dale Jr., Greg Haskell, Mike Lewis, and Jake Hooker rounding out the top 5. So that is going to do it for heat race number 2 and for our late models. Those guys will make their way back to the pits, wrench away before their feature event tonight. Sure, some changes on the docket for a few of these drivers. Try and get things headed in the right direction. As we look to continue on here, I see our mini stock division ready to go for their heat race. They are lined up down in the chute, ready to go. They make their way out onto the track. We'll head on down the lineup here for you. We have the James Kelly machine, the J2. In front of him, the 2M of Mark McDonald, the 50 car of Ken Frazier, the 747 JJ Bulio, Matt Newell in the 26. Matt, your current points leader in our mini stock division. Jake Blake in the 77 truck on the front row, and Ryan Houston with that funky looking 92 machine sits on the pole for the mini stock heat race here tonight. Drivers getting ready to come to green right away here as they come down through 3 and 4. Blake and Houston will lead them through. Slow and steady this time by as the green comes out for Houston and Blake. Well, everybody clean through 1 and 2. The 26 of Matt Newell charges through to the front on lap number 1. He has been strong so far this season. Ryan Beaulieu in the amped up 747 jumps up into the second spot. 3 cars battling as James Kelly now looks to the inside of Houston. Down the backstretch they go. Newell in 26 stretches it out just a little bit as he comes out of 3 and 4. Beaulieu behind him. And Frazier in the 50 car, running in that 3rd spot. And some issues for the 92 car. Houston is slow through 1 and 2. Seems like he may have just jumped out of gear, but he gets that fired up once again. In the Ohana Racing machine. We've got another one sort of slow down the backstretch there. Fraser in the 50. Looks like he's going to pull to the infield. Right front flat on that machine, so that will cut his heat race short. Definitely hard to turn laps with that right front down. Two laps left to go for Newell in the 26 machine. Matt Newell with 3 feature wins so far this season, so he has certainly been the class of the field in the 26 car. Mark McDonald close behind him in points, followed by Ryan Beaulieu and Kent Frazier. Good battle a little further back in the field between Blake and Houston as they come down here for the final time, but it will be Matt Newell in the 26 picking up the heat race win. JJ Beaulieu comes home in second in the 747. And James Kelly in the J2 in third. It was just a couple weeks ago that the 747 literally on fire down there in 1 and 2. Came in contact with the wall. Broke a fuel line, had a bit of a, not a big explosion, but definitely some fire, but he got that thing tore apart and put back together. Came right back out the next week, so they may not be the fastest here at the racetrack, but they put in just as much time and effort, that's for sure. Happy to see Blake in the 77 making some laps around for their heat race. He didn't make it out last week, had some issues early on, did not make the heat race. Had some troubles before the feature as well, so towed all the way to the racetrack, but didn't get to turn any laps in that 77 truck. So glad to see Blake getting some seat time here tonight. As we look on down to heat race number 1 for our mini mod division. Great Lakes Gymnastics in Chatham, our title sponsor here for the mini mod division. Heat race rolls out onto the racetrack, and we will head on down the list here for you. 24 tonight, driven by Brian Coomans. 21 is Rick Ballison. The 29J of Dave Johnson. 56 is Gerald Underwood. The 7 of Larry Hart. 91 is Austin Pickering. N64 of Dylan Bonner. The 52 car is Austin Turkington. Brad Bodwin in the 78B, Evan Bonner in the 16, Caleb O'Leary in the 28, and Jason Turkington in the 25. Spread out pretty quick down through 1 and 2. Pickering looking through the middle of the pack down into 3 and 4 as he gets to the outside of Turkington. Bonner in that 64 car, quick up through the field and looks for that second position ahead of his brother, Evan Bonner. Slides up just a little bit, but out front it's the 28 of Caleb O'Leary leading these guys around. Pickering runs in 4th. Austin Turkington sits in the 5th position in that black 52 as Larry Hart looks to the inside of him down through 3 and 4. Underwood and Ballison behind him doing battle as well. So far, so good in heat race number 1. Halfway this time by for O'Leary as he comes across the stripe. Dylan Bonner, Evan Bonner, 2 of the 3 Bonner racing machines. Pickering looks to the rear of Evan Bonner as they go down the backstretch. And a ways back to Larry Hart, Ballison, and Turkington behind them. As O'Leary now works on Bodwin in the 78. Bodwin down to the bottom, lets these 2 go by. Bonner to the inside of O'Leary down through 3 and 4. 2 laps left to go for race leader O'Leary. Off before they come for the white flag this time by O'Leary. Still leads Bonner as they head into 1 and 2. O'Leary steady through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch they go. Bonner to the inside. O'Leary trying to hold them off to pick up the heat race win, and it will be Caleb O'Leary in the 28K picking up the win, followed by Dylan Bonner. Pickering comes home in 3rd. Evan Bonner in 4th. And at the line, it will be Larry Hart in the 7, rounding out the top 5 in the first of 2 Great Lakes Gymnastics mini mod heat races. Let there be light. Heat race number 2 now making its way out onto the racetrack as the first heat makes their way off. And in heat race number 2, we see the 87 of Kyle Gill, 18P of Mark Fallon, 06 of Jessica Van Hall, the 14 of J.D. Hack, Marshall Horregers in the 31 car, Sean McNally in the 8M, E64 driven by Dustin Burke, the 23 of Joel Desjardins, Harley Hornick in the 62 on the front row, and Wes Bertozzi on the pole for the second mini mod heat race. Well, right off the bat, a couple of good-looking machines out front. Bertozzi and Burke 1 and 2 in the 46, but Horregers looks to the inside to take away that second position. Horregers inside of Burke with McNally behind him. Last week, Bertozzi came into the night as the points leader with a small margin over Horregers, but coming into tonight, it is Horregers with the points lead back over top of Bertozzi. Harreger has certainly been strong in that 31 car so far this season and the last couple seasons as well. Still pretty cool to see Ross Underwood Jr. making some laps around here on the side of that 46 car. The big picture covering up some sponsors. Always good to see some class acts like that here at the racetrack. As Harreger gets right to the back bumper of Bertozzi. Down into 3 and 4 they go. Bertozzi to the bottom. Harreger's through the middle. Bertozzi still leads that lap. Harreger's now to the inside of Bertozzi. Down the backstretch they go. Jessica Van Hall couldn't be a factor as those two split. Harreger's to the bottom. Bertozzi on the high side. That bumps him back to the second position. McNally now in third and Burke in fourth. As we get into the closing lap of heat race number 2. One more time around the speedway for Harreger's. Harreger's will pick up the heat race win, followed by Bertozzi and McNally. Comes home in third. Burke with a strong run finishes fourth. And J.D. Hack rounds out the top 5 for heat race number 2 in our Great Lakes Gymnastics mini mods. Well, just like that, race fans, we are now at intermission. Things rolling along pretty steady, pretty smooth here tonight. So there will be a small break in the action. Should be last call for those 50-50 tickets. We'll have that draw coming up during our intermission. So if you want to get up and stretch your legs, feel free. We'll have a short break in the action. Well, we started something last week. We're going to continue on this week with our driver introductions. Tonight, our modified class. And I hear some hooting and hollering down here at the 50-50 booth. I'm assuming we have a winner. We got the thumbs up. Somebody is taking home $1,500. Real quick before we get through our lineup, who's the winner? Your signature, sir. What is your name? He's busy counting money.
Judge Corlett.
Congratulations. You are tonight's 50-50 winner. Thank you again for supporting, and we are going to run down tonight's lineup for our Shinkles Gourmet Meats Modified Division. Starting at the tail tonight in the 11, that is Kyle Villaranda. Inside of him, or outside, I believe, that is the 28 car of Tate O'Leary. In front of them, the 5C of Bob Chapman. Bob's at the back. In front of him, Jim Dale Jr. in the 00. The 22S, that is Brian Spielman. And in the 4F, that is Jim Fletcher. Second row on the outside, the 86 car of Drew Smith. Inside of him, the 43 of Brad McLeod. And starting on the front row for tonight's modified feature in the 6M, we have Justin Mills And on the pole for tonight's feature event, it is the 14 car of Mario Toniolo.
Good luck, everybody.
We will give these drivers a minute to get strapped back into their hot rods.
Adios, amigos.
I'm going to climb way up on the tower here beside Nick, our videographer. I know you're busy videotaping, but do you think you got it in you for a driver start your engines?
Tell you, Dean, there's not a car out there that couldn't win this thing, so Aiden's giving us the word. All right, everybody, all together now. 3, 2, 1. Gentlemen, start your engines!
Thank you, race fans. Thank you, Nick. We will get underway in just a minute here with our Shinkles Gourmet Meat Modified feature event, 20 laps the distance. Green. We are underway here for our modified feature. Justin Mills jumps out to the early lead in the 6M. Down the backstretch they go through 3 and 4. Mills to Toniolo. Battle for third place between Smith and Spielman. Chapman a little squirrely down the front stretch. It seems to have it pointed in the right direction. We've got another car slow with some damage. Drew Smith in the 86 got some sheet metal bent up. Not sure what happened with him, but so Justin Mills in the 6M starts to pull away from Mario Toniolo running in second. And just as far back to Spielman in third. Mills will start to work up on some slower cars this time. Villaranda in his sights in the 11 car. And Mills right into the back of him, nowhere to go. That's going to bring the caution out. Not what Mills wanted to have happen, but nowhere to go as Villaranda was slow coming out of turn number 2, and Mills right into the rear end of that car. Mills with a significant lead over Toniolo before that happened. Villaranda parked on the infield now, not sure exactly what happened, but that car just slowed right down coming out of 2. And unfortunately nowhere for Mills to go except right into the rear end. Had that line picked already and just couldn't change. See if they can get it sorted out to get him fired back up. Not sure if he will try and join the tail of this field. Unfortunately, looks pretty decent. A little bit of front end damage, definitely going to make it hard with the arrow on that car, but good news for Toniolo, who was a little further back to second. He now takes the point. So unfortunate circumstances there for the 6M, but one of those racing deals. Just had his line committed, and unfortunately that went right into the back of the 11. So that will put Justin Mills to the tail of the field to continue on for our feature. Toniolo out front now, followed by Spielman and Dale. Well, the bumper has come off the front end, so that's good. At least we got it out of the way now. Can't cause any caution later on, but some significant front end damage on the 6M of Justin Mills. Well, apparently the 6M going to get his spot back. Going to give Villaranda the call on that one. So Justin Mills lucky that time by. Going to get his spot back at the front in front of Toniolo. One more time around before we cut him loose to continue on for our modified feature. Mills, Toniolo, and Spielman, 1, 2, 3. Ready to come back to green this time for our modifieds. Well, I'm going to assume that one's going to get called back. Should be a Delaware-style restart. Not a Delaware-style restart, just a little bit of each. And we're going to continue on here in our modified feature. Justin Mills will take the point and continue. Mills with a little bobble there in 3 and 4. That closes the gap back to Mario Toniolo. We'll see if any damage on the front end may have occurred on the 6M, causing him some turmoil throughout the feature here. Spielman looks to the back of Toniolo now for that second spot. Behind them, Smith and McLeod battle for that 4th and 5th position. So after the dry conditions earlier, all these drivers choosing this high line now. Making it work around. Smith looks again to the bottom of McLeod for that 4th position. Spielman out of the inside of Toniolo down the front stretch, trying to take that 2nd position away. Justin Mills starts to open the gap just a little bit over Toniolo as we hit the halfway mark of our sprint car, or sorry, our modified feature. 10 in, 10 to go. Spielman again to the inside of Toniolo, just can't make it stick. Mario quick out of 2 down the back stretch. They go. As Mills stretches out about 10 car lengths ahead of Toniolo. And we've got a car coming around down in turn number 4. That is Jim Dale Jr. in the 00 car. He brings it around. That will bring out a caution. Unfortunate for Jimmy, just couldn't keep control there. Got a little squirrely coming out of 4, and around it came. So not ideal for Mills, as that will bunch the field up behind him. Toniolo down to the inside, letting him know he's there. A lot of right side damage on the 22 car as well. Looks pretty cosmetic, some bent up sheet metal, but obviously some battling going on between him and Toniolo. Got the front door kind of crinkled quite ways back there on the 22, so thankfully on the right side of these cars it is mostly sheet metal. Not much other damage can be done until you get much farther in on the car, so Speedway should be able to continue on no problem. White flag this time by for race leader Justin Mills as we get ready to come back to green. Mills, Toniolo, and Spielman, 1, 2, 3. Mills still looking good after that contact with Villaranda, so obviously not too much changed in the front end of that car. Not quite sure what's going on at the moment here with Smith sneaking up the outside just a little bit here on that restart. Hopefully we get that one called back just a little bit. And we will continue under green. So all kinds of good stuff happening so far here tonight for our modified feature. Mills stretches it out right off the bat over Toniolo and Spielman. Smith has slid his way up into the 4th position. Brad McLeod rounding out the top 5. Well, once again, Smith starts to stretch it out down the backstretch, almost a full backstretch over second place Toniolo. Spielman still trying to get his nose down, but slides up just a little bit coming out of 3 and 4. So not much doing for second and third. Those guys run. Smith not gaining too much ground on Spielman either, so things start to spread out just a little bit as we get down inside of 5 laps to go. Once again, Spielman looks to the inside of Toniolo, but just can't make it stick, but good run down the backstretch this time. Spielman trying to make it stick, but slides up. Toniolo holds that second position. Left to go for race leader Justin Mills. White flag this time by for race leader Mills as Spielman once again looks to the inside of Toniolo, just can't make it stick. Toniolo, Spielman, and Smith come by one more time to go. Your leader Mills heads down into 3 and 4. Off of 4 he comes, and he will be your modified feature winner, Justin Mills in the 6M, followed by Mario Toniolo, Brian Spielman, and Drew Smith, rounding out the top 5. Well, that is going to do it for our modified feature. Well, not sure if that was a burnout attempt there for Smith, but Mills, but Mills happy for sure, picking up that feature win. Strong night for Mills, good run for Toniolo coming home in second. Good battle with Spielman all night long. That will do it for our Shinkles Modifieds here for the evening. We are going to roll right into our Westside Performance Thunder Stock Division feature event for the night. Run down the lineup here for you. Starting at tail is the 93 of Nathaniel Greenaway. 27 is John Hodges. 74 of Stan Cook. 1A of Brad Off here. 45 is Barry Watson. 47B of Mitchell Russo. 65 of Scott Dunn. 75 is Ryan Berry. 40 is Laura Authier. 92 of Paige Lanoux. 98 of Andrew Mayu. 42 is Matt Wilson. 36 of Alan Riom. G72 of Marcel Godet. 93F of Calvin Fox. The 96 of Steve Shaw. Todd Shaw in the 96T. Gord Grant in the 5G. Sean Jones in the 327. And on the front row we have the 21 of Spencer Smolders. And the 43 of Gerald Martin. "21 cars ready to go, 20 laps the distance. Well, it was 40 laps last week, so 20 laps should be a cakewalk for these guys this week, but only time will tell as we get ready to go with Gerald Martin and Spencer Smolders on the front row, ready to bring it around to green in our Westside Performance Plus Thunderstock feature event. Well, lap one complete for race leader Spencer Smolders as things get spread out just a little bit here in our Thunderstock division. Gerald Martin runs second. Steve Shaw currently running in third as he looks to the rear of the 43 of Gerald Martin. Gord Grant, Godet, and Jones. Good battle a little further back between Lanoux, Mayu, and Baruso as they head down the backstretch. Lanoux slow down the inside in the 92. Caution will come out. Caution as we have got a car on fire over there in turn number 2. That is a 42 of Wilson. Fire under the rear of that car. Wilson getting the window net down, so he will climb out as quick as he can. As safety crews are quick on the scene. Driver is out. Fire extinguishers in hand. So Wilson out of the car, glad to see he is okay. And race fans, if you could make sure you stay back from the fence over there, please and thank you. Bit of a safety concern when a race car is on fire. Wilson with a wave to the crowd there, glad to see him out of the car A-OK. So for just his second week on the racetrack, Spencer Smolders has got things figured out so far in that 21 car. Had a pretty decent run last week in our 40 lapper, running strong so far tonight. whole Smolders gang keeping busy with the racing thing as far as the race car goes, as well as the Route 1 Speedway. If you're a go-kart fan, make sure you check that out on Friday nights. Route 1 Speedway, check that out for the go-kart action in the area. Some of our drivers in our Thunderstock division racing the go-karts as well, so give you something to do on a Friday night. Check it out as we just get ready to go back to green for our Thunderstock feature. Smolders, Martin, and Shaw. As I mentioned, it was Martin last week having a great run at the 43. Unfortunately, expired that motor, but they got it fixed up. He is back out and just running strong here tonight in that second position. Chose the inside row to get this feature restarted with Steve Shaw outside of him in the 96. Aiden green flag in hand, ready to go. Coming out of 4, our Thunderstock feature. Well, Smolders still at the point, but Steve Shaw hot on his heels now, looking to reel in the 21 car. Shaw now to the inside of Smolders. Good battle developing for that top spot. Smolders high down the back stretch with a great run. Martin runs in that 3rd position. Gaudette in 4th. Jones in 5th. Good battle a little further back. Grant to the inside of Jones, trying to take that 5th position away. He heads down the inside as Jones slides up just a little bit. Todd Shaw right in the mix there, as well as the leaders come up on the slow car of Hodges in the 27. They split the pair, and Shaw unfortunately into the back of the 27. Smolders slides up. Will hold that 1st position. So the top 3 starting to stretch it out from the pack, with a good battle behind them for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Jones, Grant, Gaudette, and Todd Shaw. These guys start to get stretched out just a little bit now as Smolders works on the back of the 74 car. Smolders and Shaw both around Cook in the 74, no problem. Now Martin by him in the 74. As we hit the halfway point of our Thunderstock feature. Some smoke starting to come from the back of the 21 car. We'll have to see if that becomes an issue. Nothing is serious yet, but you can definitely see some glow on those headers. So things heating up just a little bit under the hood of that 21 car. As they now work around the 27 again, now looking to put the 30 of Othier, Laura Othier. Shaw right to the back of the 21 this time. As they work around the outside and now to the bottom of the 30 of Othier. Sparks fly, a little bit of contact, but still Smolders out front. Shaw second. Martin starts to reel in Shaw. Again, the leader will start to get up on some slower traffic, see how these guys can start to negotiate through. Off of 2 they come. Down inside the 75 goes Smolders. Now done in the 65. Back out as well after some issues earlier on tonight. Smolders. Shaw to the outside of the 75. Martin to the inside. So these guys having to definitely wheel these things through traffic. Smolders now to the back of the 92 of Paige Lanoux as we get down inside of 5 laps to go here in our Thunder Stock feature. Things will definitely get interesting as we come up on some slower cars again. Smolders down to the inside of Lanoux. Shaw around both cars on the high side, looks to take the point on the outside of Smolders. On to 2 they go side by side down the backstretch, and Shaw takes that spot away as they head down into 3 and 4. And just like that, Othier comes around and collects both the 21 and the 96, and the tire headed down the front stretch off of the 21 car. So an unfortunate turn of events for our leaders as they were battling. Just like that, your leaders have their night come to an end as the rear tire right off of the Smolders machine has made its way all the way down past the flag stand. So white flag out for race leader Gerald Martin. Jones behind him and Todd Shaw in the 3rd position. Marcel Gaudet and Alan Riom now up inside the top 5. Bunch them up one more time before we bring them back to green. Single file getting ready to come back to green through 3 and 4. Gerald Martin will bring them off of 4 back to green. So the 327 of Sean Jones immediately falls off the pace, pulls to the infield. So some technical issues for him. That puts Todd Shaw now up into the 2nd spot, followed by Gaudet, Paige Lanoux, and Alan Rio. Andrew Mayo in the 98 as well, looking to do battle with Rio and Lanoux. Two laps left to go for race leader Gerald Martin. Gerald starts to stretch it out just a little bit over Todd Shaw, but behind them, Paige Lanoux looking to get to the inside of Marcel Gaudet to take that 3rd position away. Gaudet, Lanoux, and Riom. One more time around the track for the race leader Gerald Martin. Todd Shaw, 5 car lengths back to him and 10 back to Gaudet. Once again, Lanoux looks to the inside for that 3rd position. Checkers in hand, Gerald Martin will be your Thunderstock feature winner, followed by Todd Shaw, and down to the stripe they come. Marcel Gaudet, Paige Lanoux, and Alan Riom rounded out the top 5 in tonight's Thunderstock feature event. So your race leader, your race winner, feature winner, Gerald Martin, once again in that 43 machine. He has definitely enjoyed his time behind the wheel since switching over from the modified just a few weeks ago. Having some fun in the 43 car as we get ready to go for our Andre Lanoux and for Amford Auto Sales late model feature event. As the field starts to roll out onto the track, we will run down tonight's feature lineup for you, starting at the back with the 00, Mike Dale. 11B of Brad Bloomfield. Not seeing Bloomfield out on the track, I don't believe, after some contact earlier on tonight. JJ Bolio in the 26. 29 is Ryan Bonner. The 06 of Jordan Van Hall. The 19D of Don Douglas. 7 car of Brent Colby. 38D of Doris Lajeunesse. 66 of Tyler Lozon. Jake Hooker in the 38H. Andrew Riom in the 1A. Eugene Hookstra in the 36. Not sure if he made the call there. Mike Lewis in the 05. Greg Haskell in the RH21. CJ Field in the 4. Jim Dale Jr. in the 00. Cody Vandewinkle in the 43. And on the front row, the 22S of Brian Spielman and Jim Jones in the 34. Coming to green for our Andre Lanoux Amber Auto Sales feature event. Well, Brian Spielman in the 22S will lead lap 1, but Jim Jones goes back to the inside of him to take that spot away as they head out of turn number 2. Door to door, they go down the backstretch. Good battle already up front for those two. A little further back to Jim Dale Jr. in the 00 car. Cody Vandewinkle hot on his heels in the 43, and Jim Jones comes around in turn number 2. That's going to bring out a caution. Caution will come out for the 34 of Jim Jones. Gets a little squirrely coming out of turn number 2. Jones got it fired up. Looks like he will get that thing pointed in the right direction and join the back of our late model feature. Unfortunate for the 34 car. Spielman, Dale, and Vandewinkle, 1, 2, 3. Jones gets her turned around. He will join the tail end of our late model feature. Jordan Van Hall there in the 06 trying to have another strong run. Definitely progressing each and every week in that 06 late model as we get these guys lined backed up for the Delaware style restart behind race leader Spielman. Dale chooses the outside. That puts Vandewinkle to the inside on that row behind race leader. Behind them we have the RH21 of Greg Haskell and the 38 of Jake Hooker. Green flag in hand. Spielman will lead him back to green one more time. Things picking up as they go 3 wide out of turn number 4. Haskell to the inside of Lewis, to the inside of Hooker. Once again into 3 down the back, down 2 during the backstretch they go. Van de Winkel runs in 3rd. Mike Lewis tries to gain some ground on him. We've got a good battle behind them between Hooker, Riom, Haskell, Field. All kinds of action going on a little further back from our leader, Spielman. Lewis looks to the inside of Van de Winkel. Once again, Lewis down to the inside of Van de Winkel. Good battle shaping up for 3rd. Behind Jim Dale, who runs in 2nd. Haskell now to the inside of Hooker. Caution out as we've got a car slowed down through 1 and 2. That is a 66 of Tyler Lozon. So some issues on that 66 machine. Those guys still trying to get the bugs out. That car only one other feature on it here at the racetrack so far for Lozon. We've also got the 7 car. Once again, race fans, if you're still hungry, make sure you get on down. Half-price hamburgers still available down in the concession stand. Half-price hamburgers still available down in the concession stand. Get them before they're gone. So a little piece of debris over there on the backstretch just coming out of turn number 2. We'll get that picked up before we are able to get back to green. So getting these guys lined back up behind race leader Brian Spielman. All kinds of action going on up front here in our late model feature Mike Lewis now to the second position. Greg Haskell runs at third, followed by Andrew Riom in fourth. Jim Dale in fifth. Riom now to the inside of Haskell as he looks to the outside of Lewis. Now to the bottom goes Haskell on the inside of Riom. Good three-car battle for that second position. Spielman continues to lead, followed by Lewis. Good battle for third and fourth between Haskell and Riom. CJ Field slowly starts to make his way up into the mix in that 4-car as the top 5 start to stretch it out just a little bit. Spielman continues on with a great run out front in the 22S. As Haskell looks to the inside of Lewis for that second position, not much doing for him. Riom starts to slide off the pace just a little bit behind Haskell. Two laps left to go for race leader Brian Spielman, as things definitely picking up behind him. Mike Lewis holds second. Greg Haskell in that third position. CJ Field now to the inside of Riom, battling for that fourth position. White flag out, one more time to go for Spielman. Can he hold on? Two more turns. Lewis to the inside, going to try and battle for that top spot. Down the backstretch they go. Haskell to the outside, sure going to throw everything they've got at it. Spielman out of turn number 4. Brian Spielman in the 22S is your feature winner tonight. And a close call for second. Haskell picking up the second position. Mike Lewis comes home in third, followed by Andrew Riom and CJ Field. But hats off and a big congratulations to the 22S of Brian Spielman picking up his first late model feature win. It was only a matter of time for those guys. They've been working hard, having a great season. And again, no intention of having any success in that late model when his season started, but he has certainly gone the opposite and had much success in that 22S. Real quick, race fans, we need to get a vehicle moved. If you have a black Dodge Grand Caravan license plate AHTJ 453, a black Dodge Grand Caravan license plate AHTJ 453, we need to get that van moved, please and thank you. So definitely an exciting feature to watch for our late models, right down to the wire. Congratulations, Brian Spielman, as we get ready to go for our mini stock feature event tonight. Ken Frazier in the 50 car, Jake Blake in the 77, Ryan Houston in the 92 car, Mark McDonald in the 2M, James Kelly is the J2. And on the front row, we've got the 747 of J.J. Beaulieu and the 26 car of Matt Newell. Green flag in hand, mini stock feature underway. Some bumping and banging right off the bat as we had Beaulieu must have missed a gear, got things tied up behind him, a little bumper banging behind him, but things seem to be okay. The 92 car of Houston was a little slow coming out of 2. Caution will come out for him as he's sitting down there in turn number 1. Well, for all you race fans slowly making your way to the gate, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed yourself and hopefully see you back here next Saturday night. So Ryan Houston in the 92 car. Slowly getting his way pushed around the track. Not sure if he will. Looks like he'll make his way to the infield, so that will cut his feature event short. If you get a chance tomorrow morning and you happen to be cruising around on Facebook and you want something interesting to do, there's a young man named Gary Riddle. I've heard some stuff he spoke about on Facebook before. Gary Riddle, Mr. Skin as they call him. Make sure you check him out for his Sunday morning explanation of the races. Always fun to hear what Skin's got to say on Sunday morning as we go back to green for our mini stock feature. Right away, Matt Newell, the 26, out to the point. Still one more feature event to come after our mini stock feature, but Matt Newell out front over at JJ Beaulieu in the 747. Kelly and McDonald battling for that third position. Well, continuing along here through our mini stock feature, as things have got pretty spread out. Matt Newell with a couple of feature wins already under his belt, running along out front in the 26 car. JJ Beaulieu in the 747 behind him. Down inside of 5 laps to go for race leader Matt Newell as he looks to the inside of Frazier in the 50. Newell in the 26 has definitely been strong so far this season in our mini stocks. Beaulieu in the 747 has had his share of ups and downs, that is for sure, but still running strong. Now with one more time around for our race leader. That will do it. Mini stock feature race in the books. Matt Newell is your winner, followed by JJ Beaulieu in the 747. Sorry, Ryan Beaulieu, I should say. Ryan, not JJ. That is going to bring us to our final feature event of the evening. We still have a couple mini stocks stuck there on the infield. We'll get them pushed off into the pits. Ready to go for our final feature, our Great Lakes Gymnastics mini mod event, making their way out onto the racetrack. Big group of cars are ready to do battle here for our mini mod feature. We'll run down the list for you. Starting tails, the 78B of Brad Bodwin, the 87 of Kyle Gill, 29J is Dave Johnson, the 06 of Jessica Van Hall, the 24 is Scott Coomans, 62 is Harley Hornick, 18P of Mark Fallon, 25 is Jason Turkington, 56 of Gerald Underwood, 23D of Joel Desjardins, the 52 of Austin Turkington, 14 is JD Hack, 21 of Rick Ballison, 7 car of Larry Hart, E46 is Dustin Burke, 16 is Evan Bonner, 8M Sean McNally, the 91 of Austin Pickering, row number 2 we have the 46 of Wes Bertozzi, and 64 of Dylan Bonner. And starting on the front row for tonight's feature, we have the 31 of Marshall Harregers and the 28K of Caleb O'Leary. They will come to green this time by 20 laps the distance as well for our mini mod feature event. Can O'Leary in the 28K finally pick up his first feature win of the season, starting on the front row? Or will Harregers in the 31 take it away once again? Well, Harregers quick to the lead, followed by O'Leary. Bertozzi looks to the inside of O'Leary now. Got a car slow down the backstretch, still making his way around. JD Hack in the 14 with a bunch of smoke out the back of that car. Hopefully he can make his way to the infield. He will get it pulled in and out of harm's way. So we will continue on. Definitely a trail of fluids there out of the 14 cars. He's made his way to the infield. Back out front, though, with Marshall Reggers, followed by Bertozzi. McNally runs in that third position. Battling behind him with O'Leary is Bonner and Pickering as well. All of those guys trying to slowly make their way through the front. Pickering and Bonner battling hard there for that fifth position. O'Leary and McNally down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Working around the slow car of Jessica Van Hall. O'Leary still running strong in that third position, holding off some hard charges behind him as Bonner now moves to the outside, door to door with Pickering down the backstretch. And they will go down into 3 and 4, battling hard for that third position. Leaders start to stretch it out just a little bit. Reggers with a big run, but battling 3 wide as they head down into turn number 3, and some contact between the 8 car of McNally and the 91 of Austin Pickering. That will bring out a caution. I believe the 16 may have had nowhere to go with some contact on McNally as he just scooted around the outside. But everything happening so fast, nowhere for him to get to. Big chunk of metal laying out there in turn number 2. So it looks like we are going to need a hook for the 16 of Bonner. That will cut his feature short. Pickering slowly rolling down through the infield. And just a small bit of contact between him and McNally as they went down into turn number 2. And nowhere for Bonner to go in that 16 car. So Reggers and Bertozzi still 1-2. O'Leary runs in that third position. Definitely been a pretty solid points battle so far in our mini mod division. Reggers currently the points leader, a slim margin over Bertozzi. Those guys have been back and forth the last couple weeks here. Tow truck out, getting the hook on the front of the 16 of Bonner. As you mentioned, nowhere for him to go, so that will see the 7 of Larry Hart making his way into the pits. Left rear tire down on that machine. Well, once again, big thanks to all our first responders for coming out tonight. I really do hope you've enjoyed yourselves here this evening. I did see a lot of our volunteer firefighter shirts roaming around, Harway trolley and things of that nature. Thanks for coming out tonight. We're just about ready to go back to green. Reggers, Bertozzi, and O'Leary, 1, 2, 3. They will double up behind Haregers at the point. Coming back to green, race leader Haregers. Bertozzi and O'Leary. Red flag out as we've got a car hard into the wall. That is Austin Pickering.
Red flag, stop where you are at.
Austin Pickering, some hard damage on the side of that 91 car. He is moving around in the car, but we'll give him a minute to see if everything is good after a lick like that. Whole passenger side of that car mangled up on that car, so they start to make their way down the front stretch to get lined up one more time. Some interesting flashing lights inside the Ballison machine of 21 of Rick Ballison, I should say. Maybe trying to distract some competitors behind him by mesmerizing him with his light show. So everybody rolling along, just about ready to go back to green behind race leader Marshall Haregers. We will double up behind him. Or single file restart this time. So they will double up behind race leader Haregers. Bertozzi to the inside, O'Leary to the outside. 2 by 2 behind them. Well, Harreger starts to stretch his lead just a little bit as he heads down the backstretch. 10 cars back to Bertozzi in that second position. O'Leary still running in third, but getting some competition behind him from Bonner in the N64. Halfway this time by for race leader Harregers. Bonner again to the inside of O'Leary as they head down the backstretch, trying to take that third spot away. He will get that done. O'Leary battles right back as we get a caution. Caution out on the racetrack one more time. Larry Hart in the 7 makes the right-hand turn off into the pits. So that'll bunch these guys up one more time behind race leader Harregers. Bertozzi, O'Leary, and Bonner. Lineup looking good. We'll give him one more time around before we go back to green. Well, Harreger's looking for another feature win on the season. Bertozzi or O'Leary looking to pick up their first, as well as some drivers behind him, clawing their way to get to victory lane. Harreger's one more time out of 4, bringing him back to green. Slowly picking away, moving away on the front here as O'Leary and Bertozzi still doing battle for the second position. Bertozzi starts to pull away now from O'Leary as we are down to 5 laps to go here in our mini mod feature. Bonner now looks to the inside of O'Leary as they head down into turn number 2. Slide job up in front. O'Leary right back to the bottom, takes this third spot away. O'Leary in the 28 has definitely stepped up his game as of late. 28 car been running strong, currently in that third position. Caution out, driver around in turn number 2, just at the bottom of the racetrack. So down inside the closing laps here. of our mini mod feature. Was the 62 of Harley Hornick around in turn number 2, but she's got it fired up. We'll join the tail end of the field. Single file restart as we are down inside, just a couple laps to go here in our mini mod feature. Bertozzi gonna need one heck of a jump here to try and get by the 31 of Reggers on this restart. Reggers has been strong on all of his restarts so far tonight, so Bertozzi definitely will have his work cut out for him as we get ready to go back to green. Three wide down the back stretch. Bertozzi, O'Leary, and Bonner now in the mix for that second position. Two laps left to go before we decide our feature winner. Bonner and O'Leary still battling hard for that third spot. Bonner stretches it out just a little bit now, looking at the back of Bertozzi, but not much time. One lap left to go for race leader Reggers. Down the back stretch they go one more time into 3 and 4. And it will be the 31 of Marshall Reggers picking up the feature win, followed by Wes Bertozzi. Bonner comes home in third, O'Leary fourth, and Nate McNally rounding out the top 5 for tonight's mini mod feature action. That is going to do it for our racing program tonight. Thank you very much, race fans, for making the trip to Southern Ontario Motor Speedway on this beautiful Saturday night. Check us out on Facebook to see for upcoming events. Have yourselves a safe trip home, and we hope to see you back here next Saturday night. Green flag, 7 o'clock.